What is up, everyone? We are live. Happy New Year, episode 32. Pause it. So, today we're going to talk about how to have a positive mindset for the new year. What are strategies that we can use for the new year as well? More like life coaching style tips. How to stay confident, how to have more self-love, self-respect, get rid of all the negativity. Just have your goals set for what's to come. So we're not going to go dive too much into what is life coaching and all that stuff, but we're going to try and give you as many tips as we can today to stay positive for 2022 and what's to come, because it is going to be a great year. There's going to be a lot of shifts and energies. Things are going to be more positive. You know, we always say it always has to get worse to get better, and I think we're going through the worst phase now. For it to get better, we see a lot of places in the world where everything is being uplifted. So on our end, we're just going to say stay positive because the best is yet to come.
So, to begin, what is a positive mindset? Does it mean that, oh, I'm always happy? No, it does not mean that. It means that you're ready to face whatever comes to you. Okay? So, Ant, how about you give us 5 steps to how to do that?
So first things first is you always want to be ready with goals. Your mindset has to start with what are your goals? What are your goals for tomorrow? What are your goals for the future? By doing this, it helps you not only start with a motivation, because I don't believe in motivation, but it starts creating habits. So it's going to be habit that drives more than motivation. You don't want to have just motivation, because when you have motivation, and we see it all the time on New Year's resolutions, after a couple of weeks, we always fall back into our old patterns, and then we get lazy, and then we don't pursue our dreams or our goals or whatnot. So first things first is write down goals that you have for the year. And it could be 3, like it could be 5, like it could be 10, it could be as big as you want, it could be even 100 goals. Whatever it is, write them out. But the minute you write it out on paper, it becomes more real. So you write out your goals. Second, what are you going to do with your goals? What plan of action are you going to set forth to keep your goals from happening to happen? So it could be waking up every morning at 5 o'clock, whether I'm tired or not. Boom, that's one goal and a plan of action. So my goal is waking up every morning at 5 o'clock. Plan of action is whether I'm tired, sick, whatever it is, I have energy, I'm waking up at 5 o'clock no matter what. Why? Because you're going to trigger your mind to beat any physical component of your body. So your body is conditioning. Exactly, there you go. That's a better word. So you're conditioning your body to be ready and to fight off any negative thoughts that comes into your mind. So the first 5 seconds is crucial when you wake up. Count to 5, get out of bed. Once you're out of bed, don't go back to bed, and you do what you got to do. Third, try and read something at least once a month. It could be something positive. It could be something you love to learn. It could be just something to get your mind open and ready for something new. Learning, yeah, I said learning. Oh, sorry. In our case, it would be learning. In someone else's case, it's probably just a romantic novel. But why read is because the most successful people read on average 50 books a year. That's almost 1 a month.
Wow.
And if not more. Sorry, not 1 a month. 1 every week. Almost 1 a week.
Yeah.
So
It's 52 days of the week.
52 weeks. I meant weeks. So 50 books a year. I'm not telling you to read 50 books, because I don't even read 50 books. Try and read something at least once a month, something that you enjoy. The other thing is, that is going to allow you to be more present. And when we are more present, we can allow for our goals to be more ready, available for us. Why? It's because we're going to be more attentive, and when we're present, we're going to be more attentive to doing what we need to do to get to our goals. So instead of always be flipping through Facebook, Instagram, and all the social media, where it takes off most of our days, when you're reading a book, you're more conscious. You're reading something and you're present. You can even put some meditation music in the background, whatever, to make you more focused. But basically, the whole point is to be present because when you learn the aspect of being present, your tasks at hand are just easier done, and they'll be done even more efficiently because you learned how to be present reading, and you bring on the presence into your everyday lives and your everyday tasks as well. Number 4,
Just to move on, to summarize, it's as though you are practicing and ensuring an endurance of doing something consistently.
Yeah.
Because a book is great. You get to have more stories going on, while on your phone, it's okay, done. Okay, done. I think the real word you were looking for is delayed gratification. Could that be it?
That too. Yeah. And if possible, I'm someone like this as well. Read a hardcover book. Don't read it on the internet. Don't read it with your phone. Read a hardcover book. It'll be easier to carry around, really, and it'll be right in front of you. It's easier to read something, I find at least, hardcover than reading it on a computer. And everyone has their own preference, but best would be hardcover. Number 4, meditate. We've gone over meditation so many times, but again, meditation keeps you in that state of presence, being mindful, being present, being aware of your body, being aware of your surroundings, being aware of what's really going on around you. By meditating, you're also manifesting. So what you meditate, you manifest, and what you manifest, you bring to life more efficiently.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Number 5?
Number 5, I was looking at. Number 5, you write down your goals, but have a daily journal. Have a journal written down every day. Make yourself accountable. Say you have 10 goals for a whole year. Say it's we'll just take something, try and be easy here.
Lose weight.
Lose 50 pounds in the next year. But you can't lose 50 pounds within the first week, right? So you gotta have small incremental goals to get to 50 pounds. And I've mentioned this, and I've mentioned this plenty of times. Small progress is the best progress, and progress will always bring on happiness. So that's what makes us more happy. When we grow, we evolve, we're happy. When we sit back and we just dissolve, I'll use instead of evolve, we'll use dissolve. When we start dissolving, we become victim to our own situations, and we end up digressing instead of growing. So try and have a journal that you are accountable for. Write down your small incremental goals every day, and write stuff that you're grateful for. Write 3 things every day that you're grateful for. It could be the same thing every day. It could be 5 things every day. But write things that you're grateful for that will happen during the day. Write out goals for the next day. If it's 3 goals, 5 goals, waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, waking up at 5 o'clock, whatever it is, eating 4 meals a day, whatever your small goals are, write it out. Make yourself accountable, and at the end of the night, when you write down your journal, you check it off. See what you did. At the end of the week, you'll be surprised how many goals you actually finished. Mm-hmm. And how much that brings a positive aspect to your life. Now, not only writing your gratification and your goals down, you want to write what happened throughout the day, how you felt in certain situations. Say you felt happy, right? We'll start with being happy, because that's what we want these days, is to be happy. All right? Who were you happy with? What happened? What was the situation? Other than being happy, what else did you feel? Did you feel more empowered? Did you feel more confidence? Because that's what we want to bring, is how do we become or stay happy to be confident? Because a lot of people are lacking confidence nowadays, and what happens is once you lose confidence, you start to have fear in your life. You bring on fear. Fear trumps confidence, confidence trumps fear. So whatever part of your life that you're lacking, say for whatever reason you're lacking in social skills, or you're lacking in playing hockey, whatever it is, you gotta build, or you gotta defeat the fear by building your confidence, by practicing every day to get better and to have the confidence in having social skills and being a better hockey player. So whether it's romantic life, whether it's personal life, whether it's business life, everything has to have small goals to make you better all around. And we're not just looking at one thing over another. Because if you're lacking in one aspect of your life, you're gonna definitely lack eventually in another aspect. Because if one is dragging you down, you're not balanced, and everything else is going to start dragging down with it because your energies will portray onto other people in your environment. So try and, again, write down your journal on how you feel each and every day, whether it's being angry, what made you angry, what triggered you. If something triggered you, try and figure out ways that won't trigger you next time. Say you got into a fight with your spouse. If you're getting angry and you're being resentful, there's something within that argument that triggered you to be unhappy or to be angry, instead of being calm, taking a step back and rationalizing and communicating with the person like you should. So find out what exactly was it that triggered you. Once you find the trigger, and this could go back to your childhood, the trigger from your childhood. So once you figure out what your trigger is, find ways to getting over the trigger. It could be a helpful hand from someone you love, a professional, whatever it is. Maybe it's just meditating and you'll find the answers, but find what the trigger is, get rid of it. I always say forgive, accept, let go, and then you'll have a healthier life. So keeping those 5 tips in mind, you'll get to your goals much quicker, more efficiently, and you'll live a happier life.
And sometimes you need help with that.
Yeah.
And that's where we're here. And sometimes, it's better to reflective off somebody else, because sometimes we're unsure of ourselves. We feel doubtfulness within ourselves. And sometimes it's difficult to talk to somebody who we do know because there's a level of judgment there. But there's non-judgment here, as it's a professional conversation we can have. Thank you, Ant. You want to just tell us the 5?
Shit.
First one's goals.
Goals. Write it out. Write what you want. Or know what you want. Know who you are. Write out your goals. Second. Third was oh shit, what was my order? Second was write out your habits.
Yes.
Write out your habits. Your habits are always, your habits are going to trump your motivation. Fourth was meditation.
Yep.
Third was, oh man.
Review,
yeah. Shit. Goals, habits.
Something.
what I already forgot. Meditation, and then writing out your goals.
Yeah.
Writing out a journal.
Now, to move on to the next, we're going to talk about what is the idea of a positive mindset. And in psychology, it's called positive psychology. And the idea of it is that the way you see what's going on is important. And so you see it as making it life worthy. Let me restart. So in 1997, a man named Martin Seligman decided to really introduce positive psychology to ensure that there was a new way to help people. See, psychology for a while is what's wrong with you, which is pretty negative. And his idea was to change it to what's right with you. And so that would help people find strength in themselves. And so they can figure out, hey, you know what? Yeah, these things are negative, but I'm going to focus on what I have that's good for me. So things started off like that. Now, the important thing in life is that it's about well-being. Now, well-being and happiness are 2 very different things. Okay? Happiness is you accomplish something, woo, moving on. But well-being is in the moment. And there's 4 things that they talk about to make sure it happens. So the first thing is to have well-being, you gotta have positive emotions, you gotta have engagement, you gotta have good relationships, you gotta have meaning in your life, and accomplishments. So everything he said is literally talking about it, is making sure that you're doing it for yourself. Because sometimes we tend to forget, why are we doing it in the first place?
That's the most important rule of thumb, and I know a lot of people do things for other people. But do it for yourself, do it what feels right for you. I always go back to do it for what your sole purpose is telling you to do.
Yeah. And so here's some strategies and some things you should check out on your own. Flow. Flow is the idea that once you have that goal, how are you flowing towards it? Because the second thing is mindfulness. And mindfulness is about being in the present. Sometimes we see our goal as our future, but we tend to always think about that. So the idea of being able to have mindfulness and flow is that at least you know when it's time to work, you're getting in the flow. When it's not time to work, which is something people tend to forget, right? I think the great words are called work-life happiness or something like that, right? It's the idea that work is a good thing, but your own life is good as well.
That's where balance comes in.
That's it. Work-life balance. That's the words. And so mindfulness gives you that. And then the last one is learned optimism.
Before you continue, I want to emphasize patience, because we want to attain our goals, but we're never patient to actually attaining our goals. And if I take what's been going on in my life lately, the more I work on myself, the more my goals are just coming towards me, because I'm being more positive, I'm being more mindful, but I'm being present and I'm doing what needs to be done, and I'm doing it the right way, my way. My sole purpose is XYZ, but I'm doing it XYZ way, and I'm getting the answers that I need my way. But I'm doing it with patience, because if I focus too much on what's to come in the future, I'm never going to get to that point. It's never going to come. It's like I'm forcing the situation to happen when it's not even going to happen. So my goal is to be present and patient now, work on what's ahead of me within the moment, so that the future is easier and less stressful and just more pleasant with no negativity. So be as patient as possible. And when I tell you that the universe listens to you and the universe speaks to you in every way possible, the signs are there. When you're present, you'll understand them, but trust in the universe and trust in yourselves. And I'm saying this with open honesty, because there's a lot of stuff that has been happening just this past week alone, that everything I've been working on and hoping for or manifesting has been exactly timed the way it has been. So if you don't want to take my advice, that's fine, but I would suggest being patient as much as possible and go with your own flow, like Chris is saying, and let it come. Don't force it.
Yeah. And learned optimism is being able to be okay with that. Because a lot of the times we tend to feel rushed, uneasy, and the truth is, especially even in the words of grievance, the last part of grieving is acceptance. And once you have that, you have learned optimism, because you're in the moment of knowing, you know what, I'm optimistic. Things will go well for me. Because let's be honest, they will. We've been here forever, right? As a human species. So to have a mindset that makes us positive is truly important. So remember these three things and check them out for yourself. Being in the flow. When you're going towards that goal, be in the moment. Give it all you got. But don't do it forever, right? Let's be honest. Some parents out there, they worked their life the whole time. But then they lost the chance of being a father. Or they lost the chance of being a mother. That's where that balance is important. And that's why flow is being focused on that goal for 2 hours. After that, go be mindful. Be present. Be present with your pets. Be present with the people who matter to you. Be in that moment and just be with them. And learn optimism, again, encourage yourself to be recognizing all the meaningfulness that's going on around you. If you enjoy, for example, candlelights, find worthiness in that. Make some. Enjoy it. So now is going to be our best part.
Hold on. If I can add to that, when you have flow in your life, so you have your goals written down and you have your habits and your game of action, your plan of action that's already written down. When we're saying flow, anything happens in life. Be flexible in reaching your goal is there. Your vision is there. But be flexible when trying to attain your goal, because anything in life could happen. So you could have a setback for a couple of days, but it doesn't mean your goal isn't attainable. You still got to get back on your feet to reach your goal. So when we're saying flow, it's anything that happens in your life, you got to stay positive, go with the flow, but know that you're manifesting a goal that's going to come because you want it, and you want it for yourself. Okay, so that's what I just want to add. Be flexible when you guys are reaching your goals?
And think about yourself. Be a little selfish. It's okay to be a little selfish. You are
Balance.
important.
Being selfish sometimes could be in balance.
Exactly.
Too selfish or unselfish, you gotta have that balance. And sometimes it's not even meant to be selfish. It's just self-respecting yourself.
Yeah. Now we're gonna have a guest. His
So-
name is Andrew. It's
Yeah, you
pretty
guys all
cool.
know
And he's gonna give you some recommendations of how to have a positive mindset. Please take my chair.
Put them in the middle, yeah. We'll make some space.
No,
Over
let's
here,
all sit
Chris.
together.
Mix the chance. Let's sit over here.
There's room. I'll just back up. Recommendations I don't really have, and then you know what you're talking about.
Of course you do.
No, but I say that in like with the premise that is my mindset good, right? It's relative to what I see it as. It's nice you talk about presence, and sitting here today, listening to both of you, it's sort of like you were able to fill the blanks into what I was thinking about discussing when I come, because I don't work as a professional in the field. I don't feel right giving advice, but I know that it's very hard to rattle me in any aspect of my life now, and I think I understand why, as I've been listening to you guys and go in another direction without the 5 points that they expanded upon, because they're very good, almost like they laid out a roadmap. And what I understood was, as I look back on my life as they were speaking, my mindset got better the second I got epically curious about myself. So it got to a point where it was like either I was physically unhealthy or mentally it was challenging. My interpersonal relationships were either difficult or even sparse. And I was like, okay, so why is this happening? Why are these patterns there? Why are these events there? So then I go and I reach out to, let's say, a naturopath and understand that, well, this dietary aspect, this unresolved inflammation in my gut, it could then affect, let's say, how my entire physiology interacts, and then I have less ability to manage stress in the moment. So all of a sudden I become that person who is more reactive when I get cut off in traffic, because already my body is not interpreting threats the same way as someone who's calm or healthy. And it goes from there. It goes like mechanical, neurological, dietary, emotional, spiritual, right? So then most recently, looking into psychotherapy, both personal and for my couple, it doesn't come from a place of I see something or I feel a guilt in having to confront this so that everyone else is going to be okay with me. It's like, wait, I've done this. Why do I do this? Or why have I done this? So I was like, let's go find the pros who can help me rip it all apart and explain it to me. And then much like they've just done in the first 30 minutes of this podcast, is give you a roadmap and tools and a deeper understanding. And what I understand now is the reason my mindset is where it is now is because as the deeper I grew to know myself, the more I gained empathy for myself and I gave myself room. And then when I interact with people, let's say that that's something, stressful events, traumas, and people can be major derails of mindset in your day-to-day. Someone could just trigger you for whatever it is, like Anthony said, childhood, something, you're unable to stay peaceful and mindful in the moment. And the more I learn about myself, the more I realize how ignorant I am about myself. And in that moment, I'm like, there's no way I can be this ignorant about myself and not be further into ignorance about them. So how can I assume why they're acting the way that they are? So that empathy has grown to empathy for others. And as I deepen my digging into every sphere of myself, right? Because there's so many parts to a person, I gain empathy in each sphere. And that empathy for self then grows into empathy for others. So every time something really minor or super fucked up happens, I'm like, wait a second, I have no idea what they're carrying or why they are this way, you know? And it's like you think you're in traffic and someone is losing their mind on you. You think, okay, so I've done all this. I've got these wonderful professionals that help me be healthier, and I've got this great inhibitory capacity to kind of calm down the moment. Great. I've got a cool team and I've done some work. Wonderful. Maybe the person who's losing their mind on me, she's a single mom from a traumatic childhood. Her job is not what she'd hope it would be, and now she's basically working out of necessity instead of purpose or goal. And she's got stiff feet, so her mechanical neurological reality is different. Just walking is a stress for her brain. She's overweight. Generational trauma has affected her microbiota, so her gut is affected, and everything else is like, okay. So a red light for her could be a major threat. Comparable threat to your system, which is super calm, it's like a gunshot. So it's like from that base of thinking is where I grew a more calm, present mindset, a better mindfulness, as I think Chris described it, because I just understood that hey, there's so much to me, and I didn't give myself enough empathy, and maybe I didn't get it from others, but I can't expect that. It comes from inside here, and the bigger inside job I would partake in, or I would undertake, the more I grew the capacity to give space for others in all these spheres. Everybody, in reality, like I feel like empathy is like this space. Like, guess what? Life is tough. You fuck up in this. You do this. You do that. I give you room, and like it's like a deeper version of what Anthony's talking about, patience. I grow patience and room for everyone I meet. So then, oh, go right ahead. Sorry, yes.
No need to interrupt. What you're saying is really great in the way that you were mentioning. The moment you started looking at yourself,
Yes.
you started noticing in other people they too don't have certain things.
Yes, of course.
And it brings about that perspective to recognize that, whoa,
When
I'm looking at myself as an interest, but have others look at themselves as an interest.
whenever we're approaching with any situation, whenever we're approaching with any situation, we should always just take a step to step back to think that they're a human being just the same as we are.
Mhm.
So they're going through something, like Andrew's saying, they're going through something just the same as we are. But if we put ourselves in the present moment saying, they're human just like I am, they have challenges just like I do, why am I going to get triggered for this? Or why is it that if they're getting angry at me, why am I going to get even more, much more upset at them than they are at me? It's like one always has to have the upper hand when having the last word of an argument. Revenge, exactly. But so then why would I have the revenge of answering back? When we understand that everybody is human, we're all living this human experience, that we're all gonna go through challenges, some worse than others, but if we could just understand that we're all human, there are gonna be less confrontations and more understanding and more constructive communication with everybody.
And I think a great word we're all looking for is relate.
Yeah,
The truth is, you could be different. We're all different technically. We've all had different lives.
he's bald,
But-
I'm not.
Exactly. But what we all do relate with is the fact that we all feel pain and we all suffer.
Yeah.
And I think the moment we recognize that, that's the mindset that allows us to have love instead of hate, revenge, anger. Why? What's the point? Don't we all deserve love? That's something we all need to do. And I think Andrew brings it up most is that he showed love to himself. He started saying, you know what?
Doesn't start there. It turns into love. Yeah, it's curiosity and like disdain initially, right? But then you're like, wait, I'm human. Okay.
Most
gotcha.
people don't know how to love themselves. That's why it turns to love afterwards.
Yeah, it
That's
ain't
the
it
thing.
ain't an overnight job either, right? And
So
that's,
I'm gonna
that's
ask
where
you-
you go get others, right?
I'm gonna ask you, how long do you think it took you to start understanding yourself? Because, like you said, we're all different. We all take time to understand. It's not gonna
Yeah.
be a one-day process. It's gonna take time. So
It's like it's weird. There's like I didn't realize there's like a mantra that plays in my head. There's like the fuck ups, failures, the fixes, and like the fabulous. In how I looked at myself, I really think initially I tried to be honest and analyze the big fuck ups, the things that I felt unforgivable, and that took a long time. And right there, that was enough to make me humble and be like I'm talking now, but a lot more quiet. And then it was actually a lot of things required other professionals because I wasn't satisfied with understanding that, okay, wait, we're different. It got deeper than that where I was like, okay, but I'm still getting tired of other things are still happening. It's like I had a propensity for professional burnout. And I was like, okay, so once all this understanding of self was being developed in these different spheres, then I was like, okay, wait, we're into psychotherapy now. What am I learning about the most? I was a toxic giver, right? This was learned behavior in the family of origin. Okay, my most people meet my parents. They're best friends. Everybody loves them. They help everyone. But wait, I wasn't taught how to place boundaries or how to respect boundaries. So you end up being this person who gives to everyone, which is no one else's fault. You choose to give. And all of a sudden, you inadvertently build resentment or burnout because you can't place a boundary. So it's like we talk about that love that they just mentioned, and after that I learned, okay, so love is great. This universal, almost like unconditional love I could give to anyone is great, but then I'm still dying. Why am I dying? Well, then it's up to me to understand what are the next steps. I need to understand, okay, wait, it's great to understand that everybody's different, but I then need to be able to place boundaries and respect them. But first I need to understand what my needs and wants are. When you've been going through difficulty, you lose sight of what's a want and almost like a personal need, because there are like necessities of life that need to be taken care of. It's like you're in a war. And you get out and you're like, well, what do I like? Who am I? What do I need? That's hard. But it's kind of it goes into that next level where like, okay, I need to give people space. Now I need to have mine. And what does that even mean?
I'll tell you what it means.
I'm
It
listening.
means non-judgmental.
Okay.
See, we get confused with love, especially when we have a society that pushes that love and lust is the same thing, but it's not. It's actually very opposite. And I like to say that unconditional, non-judgmental love is what we're all striving for. Because see, you unconditionally started to recognize, why am I the way I am? And then you were starting to be non-judgmental. That's what allowed you to be curious,
Yep.
to recognize what's going on inside.
Yep.
Because when there's judgment, you stop. You stop feeling, oh, why am I going to look at that? Which is where professionals come in. Because at the end of the day, it's hard to dig in a soil that is so hard and ridden with so much pain and suffering. And that's why real love, which is unconditional and non-judgmental, sometimes has to come from the outside. Because who really teaches you to love yourself? Let's be honest.
I don't know how to fix a transmission on my car. I have
Once
no
upon-
idea.
well,
I have
you
no
know,
idea. So I pay
exactly.
someone.
Exactly. And that's why it's important to learn slowly how to love yourself. And let's be honest, that is what positive mindset is. It's showing yourself some love, unconditionally and non-judgmentally.
When you love yourself, you build your own confidence, you have your own self-respect. Typically, nothing should be negative after, because you have everything that you need in your hands just by loving yourself.
And what is negative, right? Other than suffering and pain, those are the things that are negative. And let's be honest, who gives that to us, right? Like Anthony brought up, childhood memories. Let's be honest, we all grew up, we all had a past, and they left some pain and suffering. But once you come to accept that, you know what, it built you into who you are, now it becomes something of an optimistic mindset.
Do you think it's necessary to make amends?
100%.
That's a part of it, right? If
Yep.
it's not done, there's undone
But amends
work.
to what? To your childhood? Or
Uh,
in general?
Could be direct, could be people, could be like actually situations like on them.
No,
It's just
it's like I said before. It's forgive, accept, let go. That's
Yep.
the only way you'll be able to grow.
but amends is like literally going to reach out to someone and putting it on the table. Like, look, this happened. I feel this way about it.
But by
I
you
need to
doing that, is that
apologize.
forgiving them?
No, let's say you were the aggressor and you want to make
Yeah.
amends for it,
Yeah,
right?
100%.
So then you.
So then
You're looking for closure.
Yes, so is that a part of the process?
Yes,
Because
it
in
is.
certain spheres, it's like making amends is an actual step in the whole process.
100%.
So then that means you're forgiving yourself.
Yes.
So then
you
that's
made
the-
a list, and you got to be able.
So that amends, no matter if it's forgiving yourself or forgiving someone else,
Mhm.
it's still the forgiveness process in order for you to accept and move on.
So then, when met with that period of amends, you have your list, let's say, and you have someone who's still quite frictionless and they don't want to. What is the way to have that amends occur? Is that the fact that you've already forgiven yourself is sufficient, or do you believe that that interaction is required?
Well, you know, in a world that we live in today,
Yeah.
you can send a message through Facebook, anything. If that person decides not to respond back to you,
Mhm.
the point that you did, you should accept it. And
That's
forgive
enough.
yourself for it.
That's sufficient. Okay.
100%.
Oh, good. Okay.
And if it is somebody who sadly has passed away, psychologists always do it, and I always recommend it. Write it up in a note and mail it out. Doesn't have to go anywhere, but just doing that makes your body know that you've forgiven yourself and you've asked for forgiveness.
Or touch with them in meditation.
Exactly.
Where do core beliefs play into this, and the inner critic, and all of that?
Core beliefs?
It's sort of like when you look at the foundation, who you are as a person, those things that you believe the world is this way. And a lot of times it's either instrued by mentors or parents, family, and you're developing like that 2 to 7 year old. It's like there's a reason why you respond so strongly to this in your world, because you were told this is how the world should be. Those beliefs, are they are they important to respect with boundaries, or at times is it important to look to a core belief and think, hey, that's fucked up. I should consider remodeling it and having new core beliefs, or having a way to see the world differently, you know? That's a huge inside job.
When
to-
you are able to bring in that inner work, you end up developing the core beliefs that are pure inside you, because you're bringing out who your soul was supposed to be, meant to be.
Okay,
We
stripping.
come out pure. We are I'm going to use the word manipulated. We are manipulated by what we see, what we do, by everything around us, our environment. Unfortunately, it's not always the parents' fault, but they are a big part to play.
Mhm.
But when you do the inner work, you bring out who you're supposed to be. So your true core beliefs actually stem from what's within already you.
And the biggest thing about that is you get to help your own parents heal as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because it is a cycle. It's a cycle of manipulation, since God knows when. So
If I could just end with this point,
Oh, sorry.
you have your body is already, your brain up until the age of 7 learns everything. So after 7, your brain is already automated. If you're able to figure out what the triggers are, and by doing the daily habits to revamp those triggers, basically you're breaking the patterns, you're remodeling how your automative system in your brain is going to work. So those are things that you have to work on, and there are little tips and tricks that you could do, but you want to break the patterns as much as you can, and that's where you'll become a better person and change for the future.
Yeah.
So
I
on
think
that
that's a great
note,
way to end off.
yeah, on that note, review the 5 points, because I forgot number 3. So you got goals, habits. Number 3 I forgot for some reason, and I work with it every day.
Meditation.
Worm using meditations. Number 4, and write a journal. Okay, and last point is always stay patient. Keep working on yourselves, because it's not a one day to the next. It's a ongoing process, and
If you need some room, other people need the room too.
yeah, exactly.
Give them some space.
So on that note, guys, enjoy the rest of your Sunday.